Ladies and gents and ladies, it's time for the reversal pattern of the day. Apologize, I've been absent, been trying to sell my house and just had a whole lot going on around here. But I saw this reversal pattern today and this is a unique date because it looks like a chop session. But if you can mark these things out, you can navigate it a little better. This was a dance between the breakers, essentially, today. Okay, so I was eager to get involved this morning. Opening range, first 1 minute candle right here. Let me just get rid of ES for a moment and we'll focus only on this. We dropped below it, a fair value gap. I actually jumped in there and I was aiming for an overnight low. I can show you on the extended trading hours that low that it took out. Let's see. There's our open. Yeah, this was a low that I was thinking. I was thinking it could go a little further. I thought it was going to go to half of the new week opening gap, but it didn't. It just went there, came back up, poked the opening range candle low again, and then went and made a new low. I was really thinking we were going to fill half of that new week opening gap at that point. I have it marked out here in WOG. That's the high, that's the low. We gapped up quite a bit on the open, but we didn't dip into it very much. Okay, so now that we have a low of day established, we can work off of a breaker. On the 1 minute chart, this is just a red candle high. And what I like to look for is the last up close candle before the run down. So I will oftentimes use a smaller time frame if I don't see it in a 1 minute. And Nasdaq was moving so fast at this time of day that even a 15-second would have worked okay. But I'm looking for the PD array that gets me involved with the trade. And so in this case, this is our last up close candle before the run on liquidity. And so we mark that out. I use a purple line, and you can see we have this fair value gap that comes right through it. So my entry is one tick above the low of this candle, and your stop would go below the candle. You could put it all the way below this low if you wanted to, because we have, that's only about 50 points to there. But this is fine too, in most cases. You can see we tried to push lower here, could not do it. Tried again, couldn't. All the time respecting this fair value gap. Candle body's never made it all the way through. Wicks is okay. Wicks can do the damage. It's the bodies that tell the narrative. And then where would we aim? This high right here would be your first target. If you put on more than one contract, you could take it off there. That's a 52-point move from your entry here to right there. If you're feeling really industrious, you could have aimed here. You would have had to have balls of steel to hold it through all this chop and see your profit coming and going. That's actually would have been another entry right there, I think. Oh, I didn't quite make it as low as that, but maybe. But we chopped and we chopped and we chopped. And then finally, we ripped to that high. I would much prefer just to get out right there and then wait to see what happens next. So we chopped here for, it seemed like an hour. I think it was an hour. 10:02 to 10:50. Yeah, it was 1 hour. And then we put up this huge freaking candle right there. Look at that run. And we took out that high. Isn't that crazy? And then chop, 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 and right back down. And we took out this low. Still respecting the breaker, still respecting the fair value gap here. And so we're still good. This is still a good valid breaker. We are not going to have more downside for a while. So you would be good to jump in on a long at the low of that candle if you wanted to. When I see 100-point moves back to back like that, I wait for the market to settle down a while because I don't want to be on the other end of one of those. So we're still respecting the breaker, still respecting that fair value gap, and we go up, and I'm thinking now, hey, we're going to settlement. Chop, city, crap, garbage. And finally, we push to settlement. Don't make it. We just don't make it. Pullback. Fast, hard. These are big pullbacks. These are like 80-point pullbacks. And then we try again. We're going to make it to settlement this time, and we go up and we make that lower high right there. Since this is the high of the day, this is our breaker. When you're going up, it's the last down close candle on the run up. We mark that out. I mark the high and the low of it. We go back up, dance all through it, and then we try to push higher and we fail. There's the lower high. And so now we're waiting for a fair value gap beneath this breaker. We get one right here. We have this one that's not quite a fair value gap. That one pushed through it. You would probably be okay to enter right there. And then put your stop above this or above that. Let's see how much distance you would have all the way to that high. If you got in, say, right there at the bottom of the breaker, that's 45 points to there. $100 stop loss on 1 micro. That's not bad. If you put on 2, you can get away with $200. And so now we come back. This is the fair value gap it was referring to clearly, because we come back and we jump right in on that fair value gap right there. See that? So what I'm looking for here is a lower high rather, and then fair value gaps to the downside. And when that one gets respected, oh, you're good. Go short. Where do you aim here? Well, I would think you could aim for these relative equal lows right here. That would be great. But look where it came back down to. The breaker. Are you kidding me? Comes all the way back down to that bullish breaker, touches it to the tick, dances around for a little while, and then where do we go? All the way back up here to the breaker, still respecting that fair value gap. And then what happens? We reject again. Fair value gap to the downside. Come back. That's our entry right there. We wick into it. Stop goes above there. How many points we got there? 29. You're good. You're good. Not even $100 stop loss. And where do we aim? The most recent swing freaking low. Either this one or this one. And we get it. We get it. Isn't that crazy? You think that this market is not referring to these 1 minute? These are 30-second candles because Nasdaq was so crazy. Let's look at ES because it was also doing the same thing. I did not mark out the bottom of the first 1 minute candle, and it made relative equal lows, which is a SMT, smart money timing, they call that. SMT. ES did not make a new low while Nasdaq did. That's another indication that we may be going higher. And so this is on a 1 minute time frame. This would be your bullish breaker. This should have been a red line. I'm going to delete it because it's not important right now. But just know these are exactly the same. Equal freaking lows. And then the tiniest of fair value gaps right there above the breaker, entry there, and you're good all the freaking way to settlement. Bam. Okay, so ES wanted to go a little higher than settlement. And it, of course, had this big zippity doodah right there. That to me is like post rollover stuff. There may have been a news story came out. I don't know. But it was a little scary. So now we come up here. I got it on the wrong candle, but there it is. And we make a high, the high of the day right there. And we rip back violently. We took this liquidity, but we left this kind of stuff. The stuff that Nasdaq, I think, ultimately ended up taking. And so then we come back to the breaker. We touch it. If our entry is right there, we get filled right here. And then you can just aim for the most recent swing low here, or you can try to get all the way down to here. And we made it to both of them. To both of them. That one's the quickest one. Okay. Now we get down here. We take out that low. It did not make it all the way back down to its breaker, but we took out this low on that huge rip down, and we went right back up and took out the high of that little push to the breaker. still making a lower high. Fair value gap to the downside. Fill right there. Bam. Right there is where we get our fill. What kind of a stop loss would you have to have if we put it above this most recent swing high? 11 points. That's $50 on one. Actually, 55. So it'd be $110 on two. You do the math on however many you'd want to put on. But we're below that bearish breaker again. And where would you aim? Right here, I think, is a good spot. But you could go all the way to 6,600 because it was a magnet for the day. And you would have gotten it. You would have gotten it. Isn't that awesome how you're just marking out that one little candle at the high of the day can get you some entries that are pretty dadgum rock solid. And also, early on, it's a little, sometimes they're beautiful, beautiful reversal patterns. Sometimes they're a little more ambiguous. But in this case, it was great. When you see that breaker, it needs to be at a low, though. You need to see this happen. Push up, lower high, corresponding with the breaker, and now we're good to go. You can enter any one of these fair value gaps right here. I would not want to enter in this section because I know it's going to most likely come up. You want to see that lower high before you start looking for your entry. You can occasionally get in here and make it to that little low and you'll be okay. As soon as we get through the breaker, just scalp. But this is the money game. So now we got it to there, and then from here, we can get it all the way back down to here. I think 66. Did it make it? It did make it, but it didn't make that one. It just made these. You could have been aiming for that one little pinprick, and you would have gotten that. Well, there you go, folks. The daily reversal pattern. My NWOG got moved because this is the, oh no, this is the RTH. So NWOG is still in the proper place. So it also had a new week opening gap here. And I would expect over the next few days the market to trade into there. I will show you something on the weekly chart real quick that I like. You know, we finally started peeling off of this range up here. We pushed down. We've taken out a few of these lows on the weekly chart and then popped back up. This is this week's movement so far. We had a new week opening gap there. And we also had one below the market because there's the open, there's the open, and there's last week's close. So we've kind of taken back a good portion of last week's move, which is a big, big move. And we're offering lower. This right here to me looks like candy to liquidity. Okay. So I think as we begin to push down, this area right here will be revisited. And we also have a volume imbalance, which is a new week opening gap, and a large, large fair value gap on the weekly chart. So to me, if I'm looking at this and it's a 1 minute chart, that's where the market's going to go for its liquidity run. We don't have a fair value gap on the weekly chart, but we do have a volume imbalance or a new week opening gap. We wicked into it. We just pushed up, almost made it back again, and now we're pulling down. I like that target. Maybe not tomorrow, but I'm thinking maybe by the end of the week, next week, mark that level on your chart. It's 64.04 half is the lowest point. 64.04 half. Do we have a similar feature on the Nasdaq chart? I think we do. I'm going to mark this relative equal. There we go. Relative equal lows on the weekly chart. Come on. Why did I put an M in there? Why do you want to be in there? I'm going to just go ahead and copy that because I know I'm about to put it somewhere else. I may already have it marked. All right, let's look at Nasdaq. And let's look at its weekly chart. Man, look at that thing bounce. That's MOC. Stay away from MOC. It's going all the way back. It's going all the way back to settlement. Finally, blowing through the breaker. You dirty, rotten scoundrel. It's making it. Man, that was a crazy, crazy volatile day. On RTH, you can't see it, but this is after the market closed. It ripped. Oh, man. Goodness gracious. Took out the high of the day right there. It'll be an interesting Asia session, I'll say that. And we're just in a range there. That's a pretty good little range. If you're going to try to navigate that, I would put on a 4-hour chart and I would mark out the highs and lows of this 4-hour range. And I would not take a trade until one of these highs get taken. And then I just aim for the 4-hour low. But I digress. Let's look at the weekly chart. Okay, so do we have a similar feature on the weekly chart that what we saw over there on ES? Yes, we do. Relative equal lows on the weekly chart. We also have a couple other weekly lows that have not yet been taken. I'll just put the most recent one here, and I'm going to just mark it the same way I did the other. Ever since these were created, which was a long time ago, August, I've been saying we were revisiting that area. And so far we haven't, but I still think we're going to. This low right here did not get taken out by this one, so it's definitely a draw if we start pushing lower. You want to keep that one on your chart. Maybe we go down to it and we bounce back up like we enjoy doing. Maybe we take out a 4-hour high and then we bounce back down and we take out this guy. I think both of those are in play. Now this week we have opened and we've just started pushing up. Up and up and up. But this says south. This one wicked into its new week opening gap from that last week, a couple weeks ago, and then pulled back. Right now we're screaming up again. I don't know where we're going to end up. But I think this is very, very close to here. Maybe it doesn't hit it till next week. But every week we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row red. 4 weeks in a row red. So will this one finish red or will it be a green candle? Don't know. I don't know. But if it does finish red, maybe it's next week. This area right here is going to be a target. And you can take that to the bank. Where to get involved? I don't know. That's the hard part. Wait for a breaker. Wait for an upside to get taken. Then breaker. And then get in and ride it all the way down to there. All right. That's it for me, folks. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. Talk to you next time.